I don't know if I would ever truly enjoy this sport, like if I would pursue it. But what I will say is that the 3 days here is the most valuable thing I've ever done in my life. And that's honest truth. And I'll keep that with me. So, thank you, man.
It's not the BMAC show. Remember that it's not the BMAC show. What is my role in Warrior Week? What is about to happen? What should we expect?
Thank you.
Our job, this is what I'm paid to do. Our instructions are to make them as uncomfortable and miserable as possible. So it really is, like Keelan keeps using the word, it's an unwinnable situation, the phrase, it's an unwinnable situation. We do live rounds with them basically for 2 hours on day one. And they're starting from the bottom of side control. They're not even getting a guard to play with. Not that they even know what it is, it doesn't matter. But the idea is to put them into this spot where they're just gonna lose over and over and over and over again.
So Warrior Evolution is a 100-hour crucible where men sign up, they volunteer, they apply to come in here and try to learn what it is that's been holding them back in their life for their whole life. What are their default reactions to problems in their life that are holding them back from their potential? So we take 100 hours starting Monday and going through Friday afternoon to lead them not just through classroom material, but very difficult physical challenges like this where they absolutely can't win, so that they can watch the pattern in their life of where they're failing, and then we teach them how to overcome that so they can win in life.
New guys, you're gonna start on bottom position, on the bottom of side control. So go ahead and lay down. You have 2 objectives, or really just 1 objective, but you can do it 2 different ways. You can either stand up and survive, or you can just lay there and survive. But you're not gonna win. Okay, so I just need you to get that idea out of your head. As long as you take that thought out of your brain, you're probably gonna be all right. I need you guys on the bottom, get up. If you can get up, I want you to get up. Guys on top, if they get up, you screwed up. Got it? Do not let them get back to their feet under any circumstances. Period. End of the story. Anybody gets up, I'm gonna be mad at you. Do not let them up. Got it? That having been said, it's no big deal if they get up, you know, whatever. But don't let them up.
You're so close.
He's not close at all.
Okay.
Come on, man, you're almost there. You just gotta get that arm back.
You learn a lot about your people like this.
Go that way. You gotta go that way. Go that way. Look, he's barely moving.
This is that's literally the very first round. We just started.
You got a minute 12.
There's a minute to go in the first round.
A minute 5.
They gotta do this for 3 days.
Gotta move. Gotta move.
Are you tapping because it's hard, or are you tapping because you're about
Okay, come on.
That's a nasty wrist lock. Watch this. Sit up. Just be there for a second. We got 60 seconds, so you can just be right there. your objective today was survive. There were two options: stand up and survive, or don't, just survive. You know. So I have to say it wasn't that great of a day for you guys. Didn't do that great, but you know, you weren't supposed to. You weren't supposed to be able to win or anything like that. But we got some early quitting going on in the room, in my opinion. There's a lot of like, I don't know. I think we got a lot left in the tank. Like I've seen a lot of scrambling at the end. There should never be scrambling at the end of practice. There should be nothing left at the end of practice. If you got scrambles, you'd be spinning them things at the front. So that's good training advice for you fine gentlemen as well. Anyway, if you got nothing left, hey, no problem. Cry, quit. There's nothing left, I get it. But if you cry, quit, give up, I need a break, and then you're scrambling at the end, I don't know. You tell me.
And I agree with Brandon. I mean, I think a lot of you guys were quitting, and there's something. It's a decision, you know. And one of the things we like to tell our guys, and Chael Sonnen said it, is quitting is always the most available option. People tell you can't quit. Like, no, man, that's the easiest thing to do is quit. Okay, and it's just a decision. Okay, and then when you decide to breathe, and when you decide to, hey, I'm gonna try my best. The most important thing to remember is, you know, some of you guys are asking, what do I do? What do I, you know, how do I escape? How do I do this or that? I'm like, dude, I train every day of my life, you know, and you're not gonna get out. Whatever your job is, hey, I'm the president of a bank. Could I, on my first day, learn to do what you do? Well, if you say yes, then you need to find a new job. Like, your job's not very valuable, you know? And so you're coming into a situation where all the cards are stacked against you. You're not here to learn techniques and moves. You're here to learn about yourselves. So really process that. Don't try and, hey, how do I get out? No, I'm not gonna, I mean, come to class. Never gonna go in a jiu-jitsu gym. Yeah, you're not getting out.
It's amazing, the honor in this room, honestly. It's just such a, I've never experienced such a high level of honor. For myself, just the same thing as Dudley, is I've only ever done things that I know I could do on my own. And when I was helpless on a mat, it really showed me that I've never challenged myself enough to go beyond my own ability.
As I was rolling with some of y'all, I kept hearing 3 or 4 of y'all think, oh, you know, God, oh, Jesus, and y'all was just lay there. Like, when you get to that zone in your life already, and that comfort zone is gone, what else do you have? Just cry out for mercy, or you're gonna dig deep in that heart, deep, more than what you can imagine. And don't depend on your strength. Don't depend on what's out here, but what's in here. It's what's going to get you through that.
Shake these guys' hands however you want to, and then we're going to load up and take it back to the classroom. Let's go. On your feet.
Pleasure, brother.
Get off the line. Get off the line.
It's a tricep slicer.
I'm gonna get, okay, the big goal is to get 70. 70, I'd be real happy. I've hit, so I've done, I know I've come close to 50 a couple times, like in the 40 range of submissions in 6-minute rounds. So I think today I'm gonna break my record and go for 70. I'm preparing mentally. Like,
70 subs in 1 round.
Right there, man. And that's where it comes in. It's gonna be fast and furious.
Go.
How was today different than yesterday for any of you? Was it, or did it suck just as bad?
It was great. It was completely different. I came in here with a mindset just knowing that everything I had to give was going to be everything that I had to give, and I was not going to leave anything on the mat, and it wasn't going to be enough to beat any of these guys, but it was going to be everything I had to give, and I wasn't going to leave anything behind, and it changed my entire attitude and mindset. And I learned a valuable life lesson that, can I share? Sure. He was teaching me some things, some really cool things when we were rolling around, and he had me on my neck, hard enough I could breathe, but he's letting me breathe. He had his other arm down here, and all I'm doing is holding his arm down here. I'm doing nothing to get the arm around my neck. And in life, there's so many times I can look back that I was fighting this thing down here. This little thing over here is nagging at me, like, and meanwhile I'm getting blasted in the face, and I'm doing nothing about it.
We actually came in with weapons and tools of breathing and don't quit. Always, yes, always your next one.
Yeah, for me it was a lot of victory and defeat, especially for me compared to yesterday. I was in the first 4 or 5 matches, I was in full-on panic mode. Just trying to survive, because that's what we said, right? We just try to survive. I took that to the extreme, and that's me. I take things to the extreme, and even in panic, I took that to the extreme. And here, today, was just feel it, even if it was painful, even if I couldn't breathe, just knew the guy's not going to kill me. So just think about the next one thing that I can do to free myself from the situation, and I could feel my body.
Just find an inch to breathe.
Right.
Just an inch to breathe. I only got 4 more minutes, dude.
And honestly, what gave me a lot of fortitude, I think, was when you explained to us who they are, and the honor and respect I came in here with. Yeah. It was obviously emotional for me. Today was a big deal for me.
Good. Proud of you. Good job.
Yeah. I don't like to lose. So today was.
Yeah, we don't either. That's why we kept getting good.
Push through, and then you guys just taught me to just stop screaming like a lady. That's a good lesson. Oh, really?
I wouldn't say lady.
Little girl, baby, whatever you want to call it.
Right. It's always good to have folks in here with good feeling. This is probably the best gym I've been in. This is my 3rd time being a white belt. So, yeah.
Tell them what that means.
Well, I've trained in, first started with old school Shirin-Ryu karate when I was a kid. So I'm big into kind of people growing and developing. My first time teaching was karate. And I started teaching a self-defense class, and I came here, I got all this martial arts training, right? I come here, and Brandon rolls me up like a pretzel. I think I passed his guard, and his foot is in my face. And I said, this is a whole nother journey I'm on. And I'm enjoying being a white belt more than any other time that I'm all through the training, and I take each moment. And if anything I can give you guys is take each moment. And I saw y'all, even in the evolution today, some of you came in, all right, I'm in that first one, or even just, you got a minute left. Sometimes it would be still stuck in the last moment. But when you got rid of that last moment and moved on to the next, it got better, and it got better. And what I think about when I'm gonna leave at the end of the day, I know I always feel so much better when I'm done. So you have to have that end in mind as well.
I think the biggest thing when you come in here and you get the kind of pressure that you're getting without any stopping, and is you're fighting yourself. Most of you are putting yourself in the worst position possible. And that's it in life, at home, at your job, ministry, kids. Like you're constantly looking in the mirror and unhappy with what you see because you keep putting yourself in a bad position. And I think when you recognize that you're the one that's responsible for the most part, then it's easier to make the steps to overcome that.
You can't make a good decision from a bad position, right? So I say you can't make a great decision from a bad position, right? You might can make a small good decision, but you can't do great things when you're pressed against the wall totally and just getting crushed. Right? You got to find that inch to breathe. You have to find it.
Yeah, so I always hear the word win. You know, you're like, I like to win, I like to win, I like to win. And something that I know was said a couple of Warrior Weeks ago, but I think it's so important is, I want to lose, man. Me and Brandon want somebody to come in here and beat us. Like, I yearn for it, you know? Like, when I first started the journey, I didn't appreciate it because all I wanted was this. It's to the point where nobody could beat me, where I could just win and I could just, you know, roll 50 rounds and never lose and all these things. And what you really realize is when you're looking in the mirror and you're not satisfied, it's because you've stacked the cards in your deck. Of course you're winning. You're not challenging yourself. You're staying in a room, and we always say how McDojos get started is somebody gets a black belt. And of course he's the best of these 10 guys, you know? And so his guys treat him like he's a god, but he doesn't go out and challenge himself. And so his skills get weaker and weaker and weaker, and he in himself gets weaker and weaker and weaker. He gets more insecure.
Less real confidence.
Yeah, he doesn't have real confidence. He's scared of a guy like you coming in and actually challenging him. He doesn't train live. He doesn't challenge himself. And so you guys are actually the lucky ones, because you got to come in here, and yeah, you got your ass kicked, but you guys are learning something. I didn't learn anything, you know? and that's what the journey is, you know, is like when you're in this situation and you're a white belt, yearn for it. Your victories in here are so much smaller than mine. And so at the same time, that's gonna make you way happier. Because you learned, you just breathed today and you're gonna leave with a big lesson. For me, I've got so much pressure on me because I'm a black belt and I've got all these things. Like, losing is good, man. Yeah. It's not, don't use the word lose, it's learning. Okay. Learn, man. And again, when you set your, when the cards are stacked in your deck and you're starting to feel like you're, I don't know, it's probably because you're not challenging yourself. Just keep that in mind, you know. Yeah. Yearn to lose.
Brandon's guys, come here. Go look at it. Listen, these guys are not your enemy, they're helping you. You understand? Amen. I've asked them to overwhelm you because me, Instructor Jason, saw y'all coasting. You're just laying in it. This is a different place of overwhelmness. So your win is to not lose control. Now look, if you really want to test yourself, then roll with Jacob. I actually like rolling with Jacob because he's a freaking animal. Okay? He's not being unfair, that's just what he does, that's who he is. Like he's got a Navy SEAL contract, that's what he's going to do. But if you don't want to roll with Jacob, then don't roll with Jacob. Pick somebody that you think is your level of overwhelmness that you can be tested. But listen, this is not to humiliate you, this is to teach you how to stay in control of your mind. You're not going to beat these guys, all right? It's not going to happen. So stop freaking whining and complaining in your mind about how unfair this is. You're going to walk into moments in life where it's unfair. You're 100%. Not going to have the answer.
100%.
So control your mind. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Respond.
Do something. Do something, Bryce.
Cover up. Cover up. Cover up. Respond. Protect. Quit slacking away. Protect. Respond. Respond. That doesn't mean put your hand down and get slapped again.
Turn into the problem. Turn to the problem, Nate. Nate, turn to the problem.
Expecting a different outcome.
Cover up. Turn to the problem, Nate.
This is kind of your test day. Like you finish tomorrow. So today's hard. This is not the day to come into the jiu-jitsu gym and coast and go, oh, we're gonna be easy today. We're gonna kind of coast through, and I know how to like control my emotions. I'll be fine. And so we turned the heat up a little bit. So we put you in super deep water, and you saw how you responded mentally. Because I'm telling you, you're gonna go out of here and you're gonna go back to life. They're not gonna be here. I'm not gonna be here. It's not gonna be anybody pulling you to the side going, hey, think straight, get your mind on right, let's go back it. That ain't gonna happen. So you've got to be able to do it on your own. And so we put you in an overwhelming position that you could not win. You know what though? You can't do it on your own. You know, like you have to be able to, right, but then you can't. And so you're not gonna be here, we're not gonna be here, except you're gonna be here and I'm gonna be here. Like, where am I gonna be? The same place I am every day. Right. Where's he gonna be? The same place he is every day, because we got our tribe. Yeah. This is our tribe. This is where we go to do that stuff that we have to do on our own, but we can't do it on our own. That's what this is for.
You guys got kind of the rated R version, the fast track. Like, I mean, that was definitely the fast track, and
that got on into the X there.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, Jake 7 comes in taking a shirt off.
It definitely got the NC-17.
Yeah. And so that's the first thing, you know. You guys definitely, like, that was tough, man. The only thing I could compare it to would be, I mean, you guys got put in the most overwhelming situation you possibly can. You don't know how to defend yourself, you know, against guys that are training every day. And especially, not even that, you might be able to defend yourself a little bit, but you're being overwhelmed for 10, 15, 20 rounds, and everyone's gonna lose. I mean, we could do that to our blue belts, same thing, the same guys, and they're gonna be in the same situation, freaking out, panicking. I remember on my blue belt test, okay? So I want to give you guys this before you guys leave. So on my blue belt test, we do this exact same thing. I had to roll for an hour, and I just popped a rib a week before. I wanted that dang blue belt. So I went out there, Brandon put me out there, and I remember the first 20 minutes, man, I was tapping everybody. I was like, oh man, like I'm doing great. And by the 30-minute mark, I was so gassed. Dudes that have only been training 2 months were tapping me. And I remember feeling so embarrassed and wanting to quit and wanting to cry, because I'm like, dude, I'm supposed to be a blue belt. This guy doesn't train. I remember just tapping to mount, you know, guys getting on top of them. Oh, tap my rib, you know. And I remember making it through that hour, and I was like, it was just such an amazing feeling, because I didn't quit, okay? Didn't quit. And then a couple years later, I went back for my purple belt and did the same test. And with that knowledge from that blue belt test, I didn't go out there and try and win every single match. I went out there and paced myself. I went out there much more humble. Went out there and trained with the guys. I got tapped when I needed to tap. And that hour experience was a completely different thing. And it's all up here. Because on that blue belt test, I was young, immature. I was, you know, a beginner. And I came out there to win. And that's what broke me. Because I couldn't win. I was in a situation I could not win. I just won like a big white belt tournament. I'd beaten like 9 guys in a row or something like that. And so, you know, I mean, I was training full time, and I went out there to win. And that's why I panicked and lost. As purple belt, I didn't go out there to win. I went out there to train and to understand that, hey, it's gonna suck a little bit, but I'm gonna do my best. And it was complete. And that was one of the most profound things I've learned from this. So just remember that. If you guys did this again, and especially if you started training and you did this in 2 years, you'd be shocked at the outcome. Seriously.
I don't know if I would ever truly enjoy this sport, like if I would pursue it. But what I will say is that the 3 days here is the most valuable thing I've ever done in my life. And that's honest truth. And I'll keep that with me. So thank you, man.
So I was thinking that thought when we sat down. I will never, I'm making vows in my head, I'll never do this again. but what you said about how it starts, just change that perspective. So that's a gift. So thank you. Like I won't make that vow.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get in the really deep water, like it's the end of it's 100 degrees outside. It's the last 3 miles of a 20-mile run. Am I going to get better in those last 3 miles? Does it have a training effect? No, I'm just enduring that crap, and I'm training my mind, not my body. That's what these guys were doing for you, is giving you an opportunity to go, yes, I can survive through this, in some semblance of peace, with hope that the test will end.
It's just a season.
It's just a season.
It is about survival. The white belt is the belt of survival. The blue belt's the belt of escaping, but you'll never escape until you learn how to survive. So you build your foundation just on survival. Then you start making better decisions and start putting yourself into a better spot. At purple belt, you learn how to play off your back. Oh, I'm stuck down here, but at least I'm not stuck on like in a terrible position. I could even use this to choke people and maybe turn it over and get on top with my brown belt and learn to pass your guard when you put it in front of me. And then the black belt is the belt of offense. That's the belt of submissions right there. Because once you learn how to stay on top, control, be calm, manipulate the situation to your advantage easily, effortlessly, then the submissions land in your lap. So the offense comes from the defense. The defense makes you fearless. Like, you know, I know no matter what happens, I know no matter what position you put me in, there's a 0% chance, probably for the rest of your life, that you'll ever beat me in this scenario, ever. You'd never even be able to hurt me. You know what I mean? So I can do whatever I want. Nothing's wrong. Everything's right when you move with the right intention and the right experience underneath it. All right, I'm done.
That was beautiful.
Gold, guys. So one of the main benefits that I've received from my Brazilian Jiu Jitsu training is perseverance. When you go through a struggle, when you go through a trial, when you go through something that is physically, mentally demanding, and dude, I gotta read this something to you. Listen to this. This is a quote from Stephen King. This is the opening paragraph of a short story called The Body. The most important things are the hardest things to say. They're the things you get ashamed of because words diminish them. Words shrink things that seemed limitless when they were in your head to no more than living size when they're brought out. But it's more than that, isn't it? The most important things lie too close to wherever your secret heart is buried, like landmarks to a treasure your enemies would love to steal away. And you may make revelations that cost you dearly, only to have people look at you in a funny way, not understanding what you've said at all or why you thought it was so important that you almost cried while you were saying it. That's the worst, I think. When the secret stays locked within, not for want of a teller, but for want of an understanding ear. That's good. That's what Warrior Week is. Those guys learn something about themselves. They go through an experience that nobody else could have possibly gone through at that time in their life. And they go through it with these people, and they go through it with these struggles, and they come out on the other side with an experience that when you say it out loud, it's just normal sized. But when it's inside, it's so big that it just makes you want to cry to think about it.
Boom. So you guys are actually the lucky ones, because you got to come in here, and yeah, you got your ass kicked, but you guys are learning something. I didn't learn anything, you know?